Hello and welcome to the Money and People podcast, the show that connects the dots between financial success and the power of human capital. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. Some of you might have known her because she is a Christian content creator. So if you follow Cathy Mwenda, I am a huge fan myself, so I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so other than being a Christian content creator, she's also an esthetician. And today we're just going to talk a little bit about beauty, faith, and business. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Delia.
Okay, so who is Cathy Mwenda for those who don't know you?
Well, I think that the part that most people don't know is that I've studied agriculture.
Oh.
Is I posted a picture the other day of me in school,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like, "Wait, you studied agriculture?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's the part that a lot of people don't know." But anyway, I'm Cathy Mwenda,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm Christian. That's something that a lot of people know me for, and I am a content creator as well. I just finished school. I was at the University of Zambia. I did a degree in agriculture. And
Mm-hmm.
then, yeah, I do nails as well. I'm an esthetician. I have a beauty spa. And yeah, that's basically what it is about me.
For those who don't know your business, what's it called?
Oh, my business is called Treasure You Aesthetics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, how long have you?
It will be 7 years on Monday. Yeah,
What?
the 27th of
What?
January. So I've been doing nails for 7 years.
It's been that long.
I know.
That's really interesting. I think it's exciting to see young people just doing everything. They pursue the typical corporate career,
Mhm.
but they're also chasing their dreams and they're monetizing, I'm sure, from both your content and also from your business in the aesthetic sector. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And so we spoke a little bit about you being a Christian content creator. Is there a Bible verse or quote that inspires you every day?
Well, I would say Proverbs 3, verse 3 to like, I think about 6, which
Mm-hmm.
just talks about like, just acknowledging God in everything that we do and not leaning on our own understanding. The verse talks a lot about, and I feel like that's something that has really helped me in my journey, like with literally everything. I feel like for a long time in my life, I would compartmentalize my areas of my lives and say, this is my Christian life, this is that. But
Yeah.
just acknowledging God in everything that I do has been a pillar of my life, and that has been something that has been helping me a lot. So
Okay.
yeah, Proverbs 3 verse, I think should be 5. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
And what's one fun fact about you that most people don't know about?
I don't like music.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't like music. I
Yeah.
think for me, I've always been a podcast girl or YouTube girly,
Oh,
but
okay.
music not much. Like I don't even like listening to music like around
Okay.
people. If I'm driving, say in the car, and
Mm-hmm.
there's somebody, I don't want to listen to music because like first things first, you judge what I listen to. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's okay. I don't
Yeah.
like music.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. You're the first person
I
I've ever
know,
met
I
who says
know.
that. Okay. So coming now to talk a little bit about your career, what inspired you to start a career in the beauty space?
Okay, so with the beauty industry, so first things first, another
Mm-hmm.
thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh.
Yes, so initially when I was done with high school, I wanted to go and study agriculture abroad, study medicine abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So when that didn't happen, one thing led to the other. I found myself at the University of Zambia, and when I went there initially, the goal was like to start to do medicine. But
Mm-hmm.
when I got there, it's not what I wanted to do anymore. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just like in a place of so much uncertainty where I didn't know like where I was growing up and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. So I found myself not sure about so many things. So
Yeah.
it led me to changing my course. I had to change my course to agriculture. And then when I changed my course to agriculture, my dad got really sick.
Mm-hmm.
So he was sick for a while, and that meant that school fees, finances were a bit rough at home. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to kind of step up and start paying my own school fees.
Oh, wow.
So I got to a point where I had to find a way out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've always liked beauty. And the plan actually initially was when I go abroad, I will
Mm-hmm.
be doing people's hair, doing people's
Yeah.
makeup, and all of that. I didn't really know much about it, but the thing that was like my stronghold in was nails. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm still here and I can still do nails. I already know how to do the nails.
Yeah.
So maybe let me try and start doing that as a business. And I had my cousin who I used to live with at
Mm-hmm.
school. She would always tell people that I do nails, and that's how the business kind of started. And like when it started, obviously nails are like 100 kwacha and all of that, and it was
Yes.
making sense at the beginning because this is not to say that with when you're in the beauty industry you make so much money, but
Yeah.
also like depending on how you use it. So that's basically what inspired starting the business. And when I started, initially it was just a means to an end. I didn't think it was going to be like as serious as it is right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically
Yeah.
how I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started off doing nails. What else are you doing now?
I do lashes, I do eyebrows,
Oh,
I
wow.
do massages, everything beauty, literally. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm quite talented in everything because I'm good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting.
Mm.
And so, how do you balance just being a beauty entrepreneur as well
Mhm.
as being a Christian influencer?
Well, I feel like the being the Christian influencer has just come in now. What I would say balancing was what was really hard was balancing being a full-time student and owning my
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
Yes. That was like the part that was like really hard because now imagine I have to be at school
Mm-hmm.
and I can't be at school if I haven't paid my school fees.
Yeah.
And the school fees is coming from my business.
Business.
So
Yeah.
now balancing the two was pretty hectic. I remember there was a time in 2023 was my final year,
Mm-hmm.
and I had missed a test in one of my courses because
Oh,
I
wow.
was working,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was just like an impromptu thing that the lecturer made us
Yes.
write, and that cost me a course, and I
Oh,
had to carry
wow.
it in the following year. So
Yeah.
it's been difficult. It hasn't always been easy,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, we managed to put through. God's grace was sufficient, and yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So I think for those people who are wondering if it can be done, it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done.
Wow, challenging.
Yes, it's very challenging. Obviously, different seasons of your life will require different things from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are certain times when, like I'd always say a prayer to God, like I mentioned earlier about like just acknowledging God in everything that you do. I'd
Yeah.
always tell God, I'm like, God, when I don't have to work, when
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be at school, please give me clients so that I can work. Because
Yes.
remember, entrepreneurship doesn't mean that you always have clients all the
Yes.
time. Sometimes clients want to come when you're busy. So, like, my
Yes.
prayer was always, God, please help me to have clients when when I'm not at school. So it was
Yeah.
really just God's grace carrying me through that season of my life. And now managing life and being a content creator and just running a business, it's
Mm-hmm.
been a bit hard because I feel like my life has been very repetitive. Every day in the
Okay.
morning, you wake up, you go to work and
Yeah.
everything. So now it's been challenging my creativity, just trying to
Mm.
see what kind of content I can actually put out there that's relatable with other people. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And so, what role has your faith played in trying to overcome the challenges that you've stated or any other challenges you faced in your career?
I think also I'll go back to acknowledging God. Like just really
Yeah.
like the Bible says, always do everything that you do unto the glory of God. It gets
Mm-hmm.
so much easier when the responsibility is no longer on you
On
and just saying
you.
like, look, God, this is so hard for me to do right now,
Mm-hmm.
but because I'm doing it for your glory, can you just like work out,
Yeah.
like it's not going to be easy. It doesn't guarantee like it being easy just because you acknowledge God, but at the same time it gives God room for him to work with you. So just partnering with God in everything that I have been doing has been what has made it a bit bearable.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
amazing.
Mm.
And so when we talk about building a unique brand, okay,
Mhm.
so you have the Treasure You aesthetics brand.
Yeah.
What makes your brand unique compared to the others in the industry?
I think the God factor. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna mention a lot of God because that's just how much He's carried me.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of people would want to say like, why do you have to over spiritualize everything? Do you really have to mention God in everything?
Yes.
But like that's how deep it really is.
Mm-hmm.
What has set me apart has just been I've been doing it with God.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've really been doing it with God. There were times when I felt like I wasn't gonna make it. You know, when I was in school, there were days
Mm-hmm.
where I would go to Mulungushi University for let me tell you one particular time. I think that should have been 2020. I
Yeah.
had a balance of I think about 9,000 kwacha for school fees.
Oh,
And
wow.
my dad was like, I think really sick at the time. So he's like, I can't manage to pay for you. And
Mm-hmm.
I had school fees that I had to pay at the time.
Mm.
So I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So Mulungushi University in Kabwe was having graduation at the time. So
Mm.
I decided, I'm like, okay, I can travel to Kabwe.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just take a leap of faith and go there. I prayed about it and I advertised just within a short period of time. Some of my friends that I had that said, and I told them, guys, I'm going to be coming to Mulungushi for nails. Please, can you help me advertise? And they advertised for me, and everyone was pretty excited. I remember I left Lusaka at 4 in the morning. Yeah, that should have been 2021. I left Lusaka at 4 in the morning. I got to Kabwe, I think about 6:30. I started working, doing nails from 7 in the morning to 03.
Oh,
The
wow.
whole day I did
Yes.
nails. I only slept for like 2 hours. I had to leave Mulungushi and come
Mm.
back here, and I had an exam the following day.
Oh,
And that's how
wow.
crazy it's been. So I feel like just by my own, my own power, I can't
You
do
couldn't
that.
have done
Like
it.
even now when I look back on the times that I had to do some crazy things just for me to be able to pay my school fees,
Yeah.
and it was crazy, like just thinking about it now, I'm like, that was
Mm.
insane, like that
Yeah.
was so crazy.
Yeah.
Because like when you think about it, I remember when I got to Lusaka, I parked my car. I hadn't even picked up my ID. It should have been a Friday, and the exam should have been like on a Monday. I got in the car park, so I just opened the door. I was extremely tired. I came out of the car, and I didn't see there was a broken bottle, like just by the part I parked the car. Then I
Yeah.
was in slippers and I stepped on the bottle.
What?
And like there was so much blood everywhere. And I was just like, this is so crazy. I am extremely tired. I was running on
Yeah.
empty. But God is the one that has been carrying me throughout my business. And there's something that somebody had told me earlier on in my business. She was like, the thing that will set you apart the most is how available you are for your clients and how reliable you can be. And I think
Mm-hmm.
most of my clients can attest to that. I'm such a reliable person in my
Yeah.
business, and my quality is top notch, and I
Yeah.
have really good talent. I have a good work
Yes.
ethic. Those are things that have set me apart in my business, and I stay in my lane really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically that.
Okay.
Mm.
And so you've talked a little bit about this, but indirectly.
Mhm.
So I'll still ask you, how do you incorporate your Christian values into your business and into your content?
Okay. So with my Christian values, I feel like most of my life, I think let me talk about the content creation part first. With content creation, it's just been there's so many people like me.
Mm-hmm.
The more that I do, like, because I work with a lot of women. So
Yeah.
I do their nails, beauty services. I find myself having conversations with them. And that makes me realize that, we are actually so much alike than we'd like to know. And a
Yeah.
lot of things, a lot of people, like every time I hear somebody's story, it makes me realize how much like everybody just needs God. And
Yes.
like there were certain times, like I mentioned earlier, like I just acknowledge God in everything that I do.
Mm.
So a lot of the times I find myself having to share my experiences with God, and just like me carrying him along with in everything that I do, him leading my steps and doing everything for me. It kind of helps me how I lead my life. So it's just with my content creation, it's just really about sharing with other people the experiences I've had with God so that they can also start their own Christian journeys with God. And then in my business, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
because everything that I do within my life obviously overflows into my business, into my content creation. And so it's just been about sharing my experiences with other people.
Okay.
Mm.
That's really cool. And what's the biggest challenge that you faced when you first started your business?
Hmm. What's the biggest challenge I have faced? I think initially what the
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenge was where to get the products. for the
Oh,
business.
yeah.
Yes. So because I started with nails, and my way of doing nails was sculpting. So there's a lot of different and new ways of doing it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that really attracted people initially. I had a lot of clients in the beginning because I was doing it a bit differently. So
Yeah.
just finding the product was a little bit hard in the beginning, but as time went by, it was easier for these other people started doing nails. So the market um, of
Opened
like,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
opened up. So a lot of people started selling the products as well. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
initially the products were a difficult thing, but now there are plenty.
Okay.
Mm.
And how do you stay authentic or just true to yourself as both an entrepreneur and an influencer?
Hmm. I think there's nothing better than authenticity, honestly,
Yeah.
because authenticity is easy.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard to pretend to try
To
and
be
be
something.
somebody else.
Yeah.
This is like for everyone. Sometimes I've always felt like sometimes it's so hard to show up authentically because you think that what if it's cringy for other people?
Yeah.
But now I've actually come to learn to embrace my cringe, like I've learned that even if I'm cringy, it's fine. Like there's other people, like for me, being relatable is very
Mm-hmm.
important. So the only way to relate with other people is by being authentically you.
Yeah.
So that's something that has really helped me stay authentic.
So, Kathy, can you share with us a success story or a breakthrough moment for your brand?
So we can go back to the year 2021 is when I bought my first car. So my
Okay.
business used to run on mobile basis. I would follow people wherever they wanted me to go, but some distances were so long to an extent where like it was difficult for me to move. And it was like in the thick of COVID. I was
Yeah.
staying in Lusaka West at my mom's house. So
Oh, wow.
already that's like very far from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it was very difficult for me to move around because I was working on mobile basis. So I took a leap of faith, decided, okay, let me station myself in Lusaka West. Let me have people come to me instead.
Oh,
Yes, and told them like, okay, just come to me. It was very far.
yeah.
But like I prayed about it. I'm like, God, please, I need a car if I'm gonna follow people. And it's getting hectic. You find in a day if I have 5 clients, how am I supposed to divide myself to like go to everyone?
Yes.
So I just decided I'm like, okay, let's try and save up and buy for a car. So it
Mm.
was like June 2021. I started saving in my little piggy bank. By God's
Wow.
grace, by August, we were able to buy the car.
Oh,
And
wow.
mm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
well done. And that really shows just how disciplined you are because
mm-hmm,
it's very easy to make excuses to say,
yeah,
okay, I'm making money, but I have this many costs, so
mm-hmm,
I only have this little. I can't save for the bigger things. But I think with the discipline and focus, you have shown that you can be able to even buy
yeah, that's
big
so
things
true.
using money
Yeah,
from your
that's so
business.
true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming back to your platform as a content creator, so how do you use your platform to just be able to inspire others and to share about your faith?
I think I'll go back to the part where we were talking about authenticity, just
Mm.
like being authentically myself on my platforms. For a really long time, I used to be somebody who was in the hiding, trying to like not really show people who I was. That's also because people be like, why do you think you know a lot of things and all of that?
Yeah.
Because remember, I told you that I don't like listening to music, right? So I
Yes.
spend a lot of my time listening to music, listening to podcasts or
Podcast.
reading books,
Yeah.
and yeah, those are the things that I spend my time doing. So I know quite a lot now.
Yes.
So sometimes I tend to sound a little bit wise, especially maybe amongst like peers, people that,
Yes.
you should just be having a light conversation. For me, it gets serious. So I feel like I've just decided to take that serious part of me,
Mm.
like with the content creation and just sharing my journey with different people. And a lot of people have actually been, following me, and we
Yeah.
have a community. So that's basically how I've managed to, like take my life out there and like just create content and just inspire other people as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And so have you faced any criticism about being vocal about your faith or just being yourself?
Well, I think the criticism, not that I know of personally from like outsiders, but
Yeah.
like within myself, just the imposter syndrome. Like, who do you even think you
Oh,
are? You know, like, why
yeah.
are you going to go? Because, you know, it's so hard. Like, every time, say, I create a YouTube video and I'm talking about
Mm.
God, I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I tried so much, like, not to make it as serious as like the way we are sitting down and
Yes.
having a conversation. Like, for a long time, I was like, my biggest up. Like I was stopping myself. I'm like, girl, you can't get that serious, you know. So most of my videos you find maybe I'm just driving in the car, I have a
Yeah.
thought and I just share it.
Yeah.
And the next thing when I post that video, I get 4 to 5 people sending me long paragraphs just telling me how that was a word right on time for them.
Oh,
So and I'm like,
wow.
okay, you know what? I have to actually take these things seriously.
Yeah.
And my pastor at church always talks about something. He's like, don't let your ministry be a by the way thing, like just something that
Mm.
just happens by the way, you know, like take
Yeah.
it seriously. You've noticed that this is an area that you're gifted in. So I just decided, I'm like, you know, let's take this a bit more seriously and just see how we can share our lives. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
And I think that's really inspiring.
mm-hmm,
I know the way um, the world of the web is,
mm-hmm.
sometimes people can be so negative. So I'm happy to hear that your community is positive,
Yeah. Mm-hmm,
because sometimes you find some people in the comments who tend to find something negative about anything.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't experienced that myself,
Yeah.
but there are certain content creators that I follow who get shamed for just
For
small
just small
basic
things. I
things.
know. No, but now that you've talked about that, I
Yeah.
remember my YouTube videos, like every time I make a vlog, it would be like
Mm.
maybe 45 minutes to an hour, or even like longer than an hour. Also,
Yeah.
because there's so many people that will be like, I really like it when you're talking in your vlogs and all of
Mm.
that. Then somebody will come and comment, can you please make your vlogs a bit shorter? And I'm
Oh,
like, the
wow.
reason they're long is because there's certain people that actually enjoy hearing me talk. And the thing
Yes.
that I talk about the most is I'm talking about God. And people,
Yes.
that's the time that they remember. You know,
Yeah.
in most of the times in my vlogs, I'll maybe like be showing myself reading the Bible, doing my devotion,
Mm.
and somebody will text, send you a message or comment in the comments like, you reminded me to read my Bible today. You know, and
Oh,
that's just like, for me,
yeah.
it's like, if it's one person, I'm good. Like, I don't mind, you know.
Yes.
And I was telling myself, because initially, remember how I told you that I didn't even tell my husband I was coming on this podcast?
Yes, yes.
That's because that's also like me standing in my own way, you know, telling myself,
Mm.
like, what do you even think you are? Like, what are you going to do on a podcast? Like, is it that serious? So
Yeah.
I try to battle that, because for the most part I haven't really received people criticizing me. For
Mm-hmm.
the most part, people have actually been encouraging and been telling me,
Okay.
like, you know, go for it, you can actually do this, you're actually really good at this. So I
Yeah.
didn't want anybody to give me the good advice of like, go for it. So
Yes.
that's why I just, like, you know, kept quiet about it, managed to
Yeah.
convince myself, silenced all the voices in myself that were trying to bring me down and hold me
Yeah.
back. And this is just for everyone in the audience that feels like, you know, you're stopping yourself. Because, you know, people will be like, you know, you have to move in silence and all of that. But for the most part, the moving in silence is because you don't want people to actually advise you and push you, hold you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
accountable, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I just try by all means to just help myself, because I really be holding myself back most times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, there's a place for everything. So I'm
Mm.
happy that you even managed to realize that you are aware that in this moment, okay, I'm just drawing back because I'm
Mhm.
self-criticizing, but I can actually push myself out of this and come to a space where I throw myself and do something.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
so true.
So that's really good.
Mm.
And so with so much that's going on right now,
Mhm.
especially in the social media space, how do you stay grounded
Mm.
as a person in the beauty space and also in the content creation space?
You know what? Staying grounded for me is not so hard, because most of my life nothing comes
Mm-hmm.
easy. From the
Oh.
outside looking in, you think it comes so easy. I've had a lot of people tell me things like, you look like you're the last born. For some reason, I look like I'm a very spoiled person, like I'm so spoiled child.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends that know me personally, that know my life like that, always like to say that I look like I'm God's last born. That's because
Okay.
whatever it is that I want, I usually get, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't come easy. Like, for the most part, I'm on the ground crying and praying to God, like, God, please, like, you're
Mm-hmm.
the only one that can come through for me. So I feel like I've grown up a little bit very independent. So
Yeah.
I've had to rely on God for most of the things that I have in my life. So He's really been my foundation. So there's no my faith,
Yeah.
there's no me without my faith, and there's
Yeah.
no my faith without me. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but this is all to
Yes.
say that my foundation has been God. That's the grounding. I feel like the safest ground that you can ever stand on as a person is the
It's
is your
God.
faith.
Yeah.
Just having faith in God, because everything that can shake will shake.
Yeah.
But if you stand on the word of God, you can remain standing, because it's a very strong foundation to stand on. So yeah.
Okay, that's
Mm.
really profound.
Hmm.
And so, what advice would you give to other Christians who are trying to build a presence on social media or even just in their businesses?
Other Christians, I feel like, don't be, what's the word? I think the problem that most Christians have, let me start with that, is that they feel like you, it's not that deep. Like, it's really
Yeah.
not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way that you can come off and, like, speak about God and
Mm-hmm.
still be relatable without shunning so many things. Because you see, the problem with most Christians is like, if I dress a certain way, a
Mm-hmm.
Christian would be like, oh my God, you're not Christian. I can't listen to this
Yeah.
person because
Yeah.
right now I have like blonde hair and it's like really short. And there's
Yeah.
people that will second guess everything that I'm saying because I'm saying that I'm Christian and because of how I look.
Yeah.
So like a lot of Christians can look differently. That's something
Mm-hmm.
that I would like to see. So if there's anybody who's trying to get into the content creation and be their authentic selves, have a story to tell. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you coming to tell us? That don't be everywhere. Find a place
Yeah.
that you can be and like lean towards that. Ask God, like, God, what direction am I headed? What's something that people should know you for? Because now you have to start creating a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Aside God being the one carrying us through, there's something that we have to take to Him that He should multiply and work on. So, anybody who's trying to work on their businesses and you're Christian, acknowledge God in everything that you do. And also, don't be incompetent, because a lot of people just, think you just have to pray about something and not do
Yeah.
anything about it.
Yeah.
Because, there were times that I would pray, say the story that I shared about having to work from 7 in the morning until like 03. I told God, like, God, I have talent, I have a work ethic. And if you give me clients, I'm gonna show up.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
about like, are you gonna show up and are you gonna be good if I bring you these clients? How well are you willing to take care of what I am bringing to you as a person? So we also have to be people that are trustworthy to God.
Yeah.
It's very easy to be, if you're a good Christian, it's easy to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something that I would say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's good that you've mentioned that because most of the time we like to, as Christians, just hide behind the veil of
Of Christianity,
Christianity. You
that's
don't put
true.
in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to have faith, but even the Bible itself says you have to have faith and works. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to also just be able to prove that
Yeah.
you are also fit to be at the table with everyone
That's
else.
so true. And
Yeah.
another thing is, I was having a conversation with my husband
Mm-hmm.
a few days ago. I was saying that there are principles and laws that guide life.
Yeah,
So just
regardless.
because you're a
Yeah.
Christian doesn't mean that you're exempt
Yes.
of those things that are catered to life. Like, if I want to be a successful content creator, it doesn't go minus me showing up on things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to prepare myself. Like last
Yeah.
night, I was like telling myself, I'm like, even going to say on a podcast? And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, look, you've got it in you. Honestly,
Yeah.
just trust your words.
Yeah.
Just talk to yourself. You know what you can say. You have it in you. And I feel like if we Christians can just show up confidently, because this
Yeah.
doesn't go without me having had to listen to maybe people talk about public speaking. Because
Yes.
like, I have to make sure that I read books, even if I'm Christian, to ensure that my vocabulary can you know help me sit in front of a camera and speak to people, and people can listen to me. It doesn't go without us having to put lighting here for us to be more brighter.
Yes.
Just because we are Christian, God should push content that doesn't look appealing to people. Please, let's get serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's that.
Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
great. And are there any specific scriptures that guide your work?
My work, I think it's about the scripture, the Bible that talk the in the Bible that talks about the three servants. You see how
Mm-hmm.
when the master came back, he gave the two servants that had multiplied what the master left to them
Yes.
to, he gave them more.
Yeah.
But to the third servant who had buried his talent, the master said, "You are a foolish servant, because why didn't you at least take it to the
To the
bank?"
bank.
So for
Yeah.
me, it's at least take it to the bank.
Mm.
If I'm not confident enough to be those two servants that, can multiply something and make it twice better, like, at least let me take it to the bank. Let me figure out, what
Yeah.
does the bank look like? Because
Yeah.
this is the barest minimum God is asking of me in my work.
Yeah.
So at least let me take it to the bank. So it's about,
Okay.
okay, let me just see. I'm
Yeah.
not that good at podcasts, but like, let me try.
Yeah.
I'm not that best at content creation. I don't even know how to operate these things, but let me try. That's me taking
Yeah.
it to the bank. But the
Yeah.
more I go to the bank, interest is building. And just
Yes.
maybe I can multiply that thing and make it like twice more. And eventually, for me, my goal is really just to make it to heaven at last. That's something that I always say. Like, if
Yeah.
God, if I die in this season of my life, at least let me make it to heaven at last.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want, when the Savior comes back, he says, "Good and faithful servant." That's really what
Yeah.
my work and everything and just the sole purpose of my life is. Just take it to the bank at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I won't remember anything from this episode,
Mm-hmm.
I am so challenged that I will
Mm.
remember to take it to
To
the
the
bank
bank.
at
Yeah.
least.
Yes, at
And I will
least.
be asking myself when
Mm-hmm.
I reach those critical points in my life, like,
Can you
okay,
take it to the
am I
bank?
being faithful enough to even just at least
Take
take
it
this
to
to
the
the
bank.
bank?
That's true.
Okay. No, you are a powerhouse of gems. I'm learning so much from you, Cathy.
Thank you.
And um, I also want to find out what motivates you in difficult times in your business, because yes, I know as Christians we do say we'll put God first and we'll acknowledge God, but there are just those situations that will really test you and it
Mm.
just feels like God is far. So
Mm.
in those situations, how do you stay motivated?
So let me give an example of, like, say, January, right?
Mm-hmm.
January, a lot of people like say, oh, people don't have money in January, and
Mm-hmm.
people are not really like booking appointments. So like, it's not really a priority, because most people did say their beauty maintenance month end of December. So like, at the start of
Mm-hmm.
January, it's really like a bit shaky.
Yes.
So something that I really relied on, it was a bit more difficult when I only was doing nails.
Mm-hmm.
But now I do a lot of things. I do lashes, I do I do eyebrows, and just a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So what I have been relying on the most is like eyebrows. So as a Christian, I go to God. I'm like, God, what's the plan here? What am I
Yeah.
supposed to do? It's the beginning of the year, and I just can't sleep.
Yeah.
Can I take it to the bank at least? So I decided, I'm like, okay, I can run a promotion for eyebrows, because obviously it's something that lasts for 2 to 3 years, and people are just getting back to work, so they really need to look put together. People are
Yeah.
going back for promotions, they're starting new jobs and all of that. And
Yeah.
makeup can be something that takes up a lot of time in the morning for so many people. So I decided, I'm like, let me do a promotion for eyebrows. I've had people flying in, coming
Oh,
from,
wow.
there's a client I had before, on my way here. She's from Siavonga. She was asking me, can I pay in
Oh,
advance? Can I do this?
yeah.
So that's the area that I have leaned towards. So when I'm having a bit of difficulties, because my business is one, but it has a lot of other streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
So I rely on whatever can work in that season of like the business.
Okay.
So right now nails are not doing that much.
Yes.
So I'd rather focus on what's doing better. So I post online, obviously advertise my business. What are people focusing more on? Is it lashes? Is it nails? I
Mm.
look at the industry. What are some of the things that are coming up? Because there's always something that's
Yeah.
trending. So that's really what I focus on. And sometimes you'll find that when you don't have clients, that's the time when you start like taking inventory. You see, okay, do we have this? Do we not have this? What do we have
Yeah.
to do? So it's basically just looking at other areas that need work
Mm-hmm.
when money is actually not coming in at the time. So it's time for me to advertise, schedule posts online, and just try and do things that I wouldn't normally do when it's so busy. So that's how I keep myself motivated.
Okay. That's
Mm.
great. And I mean, there's a lesson in there is that even as we are doing our businesses, just to try and see ways in which we can diversify the offering that we have for our
Yeah,
clients.
that's true.
Because while you started off doing nails, now you have a wide variety of services.
Mm.
And what that does is it not just makes your beauty shop like a one-stop shop, but it also helps you in times when business is shaky in this space. At least the other space can help your
With the
business to
other
stand up.
things, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
so well done on identifying that, because sometimes you find if you just focus on that niche, for example, if you just focused on the nails and business was going bad, we don't know if your business would be here today.
No,
Yeah.
honestly,
So
no.
it's like you have to keep on changing with the times and learning, upskilling, just so that you can have a better product offering.
That's so true.
So, Cathy, what's one piece of advice you wish you knew before you became an entrepreneur?
Hmm. I think just get knowledgeable. No, don't stop learning.
Mm,
Just don't stop learning. There was a time that I got very complacent with what I knew. Obviously, I knew that I was good, but like I stopped learning. And
yeah,
now I've gotten back to the place where, when somebody asks me, like, why don't you offer this service? I'm just like, I don't like it. And I would always be like,
yeah,
I don't like it. I like what I do. And then I found myself like, you're getting complacent, you're getting too comfortable. So I feel
yeah.
like just don't get comfortable. Don't get
Mm,
complacent. Like just always strive to get better. Because
yeah,
with this industry, there's always something new all the time. Like today, you find it's this color that's trending. Next week, it's another color. By the
yes.
time you're getting to it, it's already come out of fashion and all of that. So just stay on top of things. And that's
Okay.
something that I wish I knew in my business earlier because it helps you make money if you're like the first person to come up with like that
Mm-hmm.
trend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. That's really good. And so, also, how do you measure your success both professionally and spiritually?
Professionally. How can I say this? Professionally, how I measure my success is I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I had a client who she was like, I don't know why, but my nails keep popping off, keep popping off, keep popping off. I
Yeah.
measure my success professionally when I get to know that I'm bringing in God into it because I
Mm.
traced my steps of everything that I did. I feel like I did everything right. And I'm like,
Yeah.
God, what's going wrong? Then
Yeah.
I remembered, I'm like, I didn't pray on this when I was doing it. So I just prayed. I'm like, God,
Mm-hmm.
please, you're
Yeah.
the only one that can help these nails last long when I do them because at the end of the day I've done everything right. I followed all the steps, everything I've done it right. You can
Yeah.
keep them on. So that's just something that I would say I would like measure it on success, just remembering to bring in God regardless of how good I get. And spiritually, it's just showing up every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your spiritual life is not always like high, 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 high. You'll find there are certain days when I'm like too busy at work and like just
Yeah.
everything else that I haven't even picked up my Bible to read or just had good time to pray. So just remembering to come back home to God, that's
Yeah.
just like one of the most important things for me. And just knowing that I'm making progress,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, what legacy do you hope to leave with your brand and your influence?
And my influence. I feel like for my brand, it's Treasure You Aesthetics. So
Yeah.
whatever it is that I do, all my brands, it's going to fall under the Treasure You. So right now I've started another brand, Treasure You Wellness. So I want to
Mm.
focus more on like wellness and just like the spiritual aspect of things and just my Christianity and all of that and just my work in Christ. So the legacy is really just treasure you, like treasure yourself. It's only
Mm.
at a point where you treasure yourself enough that you can yield yourself to God, that you can surrender, that you can be submissive to your husband, that you can show up at work and be excellent, that you can show up and be good with like your clients and everything that you do. So it's really that for me. Yeah,
Okay.
just loving yourself enough to be able to show other people love. I talked about this in one of my videos on YouTube that if you feel so much hate,
Yeah.
you'll only be able to dish out hate to other people. But if
Yeah.
you have love, the Bible tells us, Jesus said that love your neighbor as yourself. So
Yeah.
if I can treasure myself, it's easy for me to look to you and actually feel that same love towards you. So just like treasuring you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm.
And as we conclude,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to find out, we've just started 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your vision? What next for you and your brand? What should we expect?
Huh. What's next? You know what? I feel like I've been in so much transition right now because I just got married.
Yeah.
So there's so much that's changing in my life. So I'm at a place of so much uncertainty and I'm just embracing it, really. Like
Okay.
I'm at a place where I don't want to start figuring things out and just saying like, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do this. I just finished school, I just got married. So I'm not rushing to see what's next, but I'm just trying to settle into what's right now. So I'm embracing my present life and just trying to be present in my life, and we'll see what's next when it comes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and we'll be right here watching for those
right.
of us who are followers and fans.
Mm,
Cathy, thank you so much. We have
thank
really
you.
enjoyed having you on the Money and People podcast. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you, our audience, has learned quite a lot from this powerhouse that is Cathy Mwenda. For
Mm,
those of you who are not yet following her, remember, I will post like links of her pages on the description for this video so that you can follow, and also remember to interact with this video. What has stood out for you? What have you learned from this particular episode? Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel. And from me and Cathy, it's bye.